Hi, everybody. It's Victoria Reynoldson here, and happy Friday. Welcome to today's live. It's London time, 1 p.m. I've been doing these lives for the last few weeks. And in fact, I was absolutely amazed to realize that I've already done 10 of these. So I'm really excited that I have managed to do this and kept going and loved sharing these every single Friday with you. So great to see you back again. I'm really excited to be sharing another topic here today. And we're going to be talking about your leadership communication review. So, reflecting, reviewing, recommitting, and taking action so that you can achieve your goals by the end of this year. Now, if this is a topic that really resonates with you, then I'm sure it's going to connect with others as well. So, if there's somebody who you think would find this useful, feel free to tag them, even if you're watching this on replay, because they'll get to watch this as well, and they'll be kind of notified and can come back and watch this later. But today is a day when I'm going to be talking all about this, and I really want this to be interactive. So if you're here watching live, get involved, ask your questions. When I ask you questions, make sure you're kind of responding in the chat, because it's really great to have some interaction, to get some conversation going. And really, this is a really good opportunity for you to ask me, to get that help. So if you're here today live, do say hi in the chat. And I'm really curious, if when you think about the fact that we're halfway through the year, so we've done 6 months of 2024, how does that feel? Is that something where you're like, yes, been really fantastic, really great 6 months, been doing really well? Or maybe it's been challenging for you for whatever reason. I'm really curious. If you think about the last 6 months and where you've been with your specifically thinking about your communication skills, your speaking skills, how do you consider yourself today? Hi from Leon. Nice to see you joining us. So thanks for that. So have a little reflect now. When you think about the last 6 months, if you were to give it a score out of 10, so 1 would be, it's been like when I think about my communication, I think about the way I speak. 1 would be, it's been really not great. And 10 would be, yay, I'm really, really performing. And then there's everything in between. Where would you see yourself from 1 through to 10? I would love to know. So put that into the chat and let's share. Let's be really honest about how we have felt about the last 6 months in 2024. Okay, so I'll let you put your scores in. But the reason I'm talking about this is maybe you have had a performance review recently. Maybe you do have a half yearly review at this sort of time of year. And of course, that would be very much related to your performance objectives, what the business expects of you, what you said at the beginning of this calendar year you want to achieve. But I think it's also really important to think about your communication and speaking skills specifically, particularly if you have already identified that these are incredibly important to support your overall performance goals, but also to help you in your career aspirations as well. So if you're watching this and you recognize that you're that person who is really determined and committed to finally achieving your next career step this year, then you'll know how important your communication is to that. For you to be seen as, and the way that you're seen as a leader, but also the way you speak, like the way you come across. This is really critical. In your visibility, the way you communicate is critical. In your impact, the way you communicate is critical. In the way that people experience you, the way you communicate your personal brand is really very important. So I can see people sharing a little bit about how they are feeling, like where they've been. And thanks for being really honest about your scores here. So, sometimes when we shift our role, you move into a new role, this can be a little bit more challenging. Equally, if we're moving, we're getting ready for that next point, that again can be a shift in comfort zone. So, thanks for sharing here. But let me talk about practically how we do this. So, the first part of this is to reflect. I want you to really take the time to reflect on what's been going on in the last 6 months. And the starting point for that is why. Why is the way you speak, the way you communicate important to your career goals? Really think about this. Like how you're coming across and the way you're communicating, how is that helping? So really think about what that means to you personally. Then I want you to consider, where have you been speaking up and showing up well? Where have you taken the steps to stretch yourself, to be seen and to be visible? Really acknowledge where you made that effort to be heard, to share your voice, to come across in the way you want to. But also, perhaps connected to that, ask yourself where you didn't do it, perhaps where you avoided putting up your hand and speaking up. That's also okay. And we should acknowledge it. We should recognize it's not always easy. So what you should have then is really an overview of what your wins were, where you really felt that you took yourself to a different place with the way you were speaking, and then perhaps what is still challenging, what is frustrating to you still. So take that time. I'm not going to ask you to do that here and now, because I think you do need to have a bit of quiet time to reflect on that. But I think it is well worth that investment of time. The most important thing is to put it in your calendar. So that is action point number 1 from today's live. It can be really easy to listen to this while you're having your lunch, or maybe you're having breakfast if you're in the like States or North America or South America, or maybe you're watching this in the evening. Whenever you're watching this, I think it's really easy to listen to me and to nod your head and go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But you know what? I'm very action oriented, and I want you to be as well. So I'm going to ask you, as your homework from this, action point 1, put time in your diary to reflect about your speaking and communication. Moving on from that, I want you to then take action point number 2, which is to go get feedback. Now, whatever you think about your speaking and your leadership communication skills today, it can be quite challenging to have an objective view of how you're doing. So I would ask for specific feedback from a number of different people. Those could be colleagues, it could be your line manager, it could be people you know well, but essentially people that you trust. And you want them to ask them what they consider you've done well in your speaking and the way you communicate, and where you could improve. Hopefully, if you ask a number of people, you'll start to build up a picture of what's consistent. What do people say about you, and where you do need to improve? If you're in a situation where you don't feel so comfortable asking those people around you for that feedback, ask me. Like, I'm really happy to help, and I'm really happy to give you that feedback. Of course, this is my job. This is what I do. But, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn Messenger, direct message me, and let's have a conversation if you're not comfortable asking those around you. So you've got the feedback. Now I want you to really think about, what are your speaking and communication goals for the rest of 2024? So maybe you know that you want to be involved in a certain type of event or presentation. Maybe you want to do a panel for the first time. Maybe it's about speaking in front of certain scales of audience. So maybe a large scale audience, or in front of a more senior audience. Just really think about, what are the goals that are going to help you to become more visible, to have greater impact, and to build your personal brand so that you can accelerate towards those career goals, to achieving that next promotion, that next pay grade that you're going for. So really, really think about that. Okay. And then put together the action plan. This is where we're going to get really specific now about how you're going to move things forward. So the first part of this is to really identify what opportunities do you want to get involved in. Again, this is thinking about what's going to stretch your comfort zone. How are you going to move out and to be really kind of thinking about your speaking opportunities so that people can see you and hear you. So consider what opportunities there are internally, but also think about, particularly if you're in a smaller organization, what opportunities there might be for your speaking and your communication and building a personal brand externally. So that could be with trade bodies, industry, communities, places where that would enhance your overall speaking skills, but also get you seen in different environments. So think about those opportunities, list them out. Then think about what support you need and who might help you on that journey. So it might be that you can do this independently. You can organize and think about those opportunities. You can bring those opportunities in. It might be that you need to ask for internal support so that people recognize what it is you're trying to achieve and that they give you those opportunities. It might be that you feel like you have these really ambitious goals and you have this great idea to stretch your comfort zone and confidence in the way you're speaking, but you're not there yet. And you might need either a mentor, some training, or some coaching to really help give you some insights about how to do this, how to build up confidence and improve the way you're speaking, but also to give you that ongoing feedback so that you feel that you can achieve that goal. So really consider this, the support you need and who can help you. Then I want you to move into thinking about what do you need to put in place to make this happen. And I really like to think about them as habits, because part of setting these goals is making sure that they actually happen. It's all very well reflecting and thinking and really seeing, okay, where is it I want to go? But you need to take the steps along the journey. In fact, I was reading a really fantastic inspirational post this morning from somebody I follow, fantastic woman called Michelle Bradley, who was talking about her steps to climb a mountain. And I'm not talking about a metaphorical mountain. I'm talking about a real mountain in Taiwan. Michelle's been one of my previous guests and on my podcast, and she was talking about, the focus you need to climb a mountain. And she was talking about the fact you take to do this. Yes, the goal is a mountain, but you have to go step by step by step and focus on those steps. It's absolutely true in achieving your speaking and communication goals as well. In fact, what you need to do is really think about, if you have an ambitious goal about where you want to get to, like break it down into the micro steps that you need to do that. How do you move towards that? How do you get that confidence to show up and speak up in that way? What will you need to do along that journey to be prepared? And then take those steps. With something like this, it can be very easy to let your development fall off the bottom of the list, particularly when you get busy. So don't let this happen to you. Plan it in your calendar. Think about how it is you're going to prepare. So this is the habits piece, the consistency to make it really happen. And then the final part of this is to celebrate your progress, to recognize that, yes, it's great to do these big reviews every 6 months or every year and to reflect, but also to do that kind of fairly regular check-in with yourself about how you're doing and what you are doing well, and to celebrate those moments. So for me personally, I like to do a weekly check-in. I literally, on a Friday today, I will do that review of my week and just go, what was I really proud of? What would I like to improve? What I'm going to do differently next time? It's a 5-minute exercise, and yet it's so important if we want to improve what we're doing. So I recommend this to you as well, specifically thinking about your communication, your speaking, really ensuring that you're recognizing when you're doing the thing, you're actually making it happen, that you are finally speaking up and showing up in a way that is increasing your visibility, impact, and your personal brand. That and all of these elements are enabling your career next steps. So there we have it. What I would love for you to do, the final action step from today, is I want you to share your action plan with me. I want to know what you're going to be working on and what you're going to do to make this happen by the end of 2024. I suspect that many of you listening to this are listening to it because you do really want to make this the year when you finally get the promotion, the big job, the pay grade. So make it happen. Make it happen through the way you're speaking, through the way you're showing up, through how visible you're being. And I want to help you on that journey. So share with me your action plan. Send it over to me if on LinkedIn, via private message, direct message me. I'd love to know what your steps are. Remember, as soon as we share it with one other person, just one other person, that makes us much more accountable. It means that we have committed, and that is part of this, really committing to make this happen. So I'm going to just have a look through there. I can see there are some comments. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. If you've got a question for me, this is a brilliant time to ask me a question. So feel free to write into the chat just while I'm looking through the comments that I'm seeing here. Because you see some people saying hi who are joining. That's great to see you. Great. Thank you for sharing where you've been at in terms of your scores in the last 6 months. Yeah. So, very much influenced. I can see somebody sharing here about living in different cultures, living in different countries, how important communication is. Absolutely. We need to understand culture. Absolutely. Completely agree with you. Great. Well, I've gone through the comments. If you've got any more questions, feel free to type those in, or you're really welcome to, even once this live is officially finished, there's a replay available immediately. So you're really welcome to add your questions. Just tag me so I know that you've asked me a question, and I'll come back and I'll answer that question later. Or if it's a private question, feel free to reach out to me, message me, and I'll answer that question this way. But as we come to this end of this live, I just want you to really think about what I'm saying here today, which is take this time to reflect, recommit to your goals and what it is that you're doing with your speaking and communication to really make the big picture of your career happen. And then take action. Take action. Make it happen. It really needs to sit beyond some words on a piece of paper if it's going to become a reality. So, yeah, absolutely. It's a challenge. You have to be in it to win it. Thank you for sharing that. It's been great to be here. I love these lives. They're absolutely great fun. I love the interaction and the questions and the comments that come in. So thank you so much for joining me. Whether you're here actually physically live or whether you're watching this back on replay, you can always still comment. The post is still available. I'm actually going to be away for the next few weeks. I'm traveling and then taking some vacation with my family, which I'm very much looking forward to. So I won't be live the next few weeks, but I am still going to be sharing lots with you here over on LinkedIn. So please make sure you keep following. So Monday, we've got a brilliant podcast episode coming up, another guest interview with Radhika Wadhwa, who is an amazing cultural intelligence expert. She shares so much value and an amazing richness of insight into cultural intelligence. And specifically, her angle or view of the world is thinking about Western companies and organizations and how they expand in the East. So I think you're going to love that episode. So do come back on Monday and listen to that. Also, lots more sharing next week as well. But thanks for ever joining, everybody. Really glad I'm really pleased. Thanks for the feedback. I'm glad it was a great topic. And thanks for listening in and coming live here today. Have a super rest of your Friday. Enjoy your weekends, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.